Hey folks, Chris here with the Crabapple Cottage. It is January 22nd, and today I'm going to show you our black walnut drying racks. So my family has a lot of black walnut trees, excuse me, on their properties. And this past fall we harvested them. We used a nut wizard. If you're not familiar with that, look it up. I can put a link in the description. And then we have an old cast iron Hobart potato peeler that probably is from like maybe the 1930s. You hook a hose up to it and an extension cord, and it hauls the black walnuts for you in minutes. It's amazing. So I'm not going to show that right now. I do have a video on that. I'll try to upload it soon. So this past fall we did that. We harvested the walnuts with the nut wizard, and we hauled them with the old industrial potato peeler, and then we put them on these screens. So we've got 3 screens, and these have seen better times, so we actually probably need to replace these. But basically we have a wood frame on some sawhorses or some stands, and then we have on the bottom there is, you can see there, the wire screen. On the top, another piece of wire screen, and then we hammer these strips down along the edges to keep the critters out. We have, as you can imagine, living on a piece of property that has a lot of black walnut trees, as well as hickory, butternut, pecan. What else? I feel like I'm missing one. Anyways, we have a lot of nut trees. It actually used to be a nut farm, and so as you can imagine, we have a lot of squirrels. So we have to hammer down these screens to keep the squirrels out of them. Alright, so this is what a screen looks like. This one was full of nuts, and I've already put them up for storage. I think I've got, let me think here, 5-gallon buckets of black walnuts that were out of the screen, 4 or 5. So today I'm going to put these in buckets. So you can see here all the nuts. And then over here we've got another screen, and you can see this is sort of our makeshift way, or should I say my dad's makeshift way of covering these to protect them from the weather. He just puts this table on top. You could use a tarp or something like that, but for whatever reason he decided to put this table here, so that's kind of our system. Like I said, these screens have seen better days. They definitely need to be replaced. But yeah, so I'm going to use these 5-gallon buckets. These are from Walmart. They're like, I think less than $3 each, or maybe $3.50. I do drill holes in the bottom of it. I use these buckets to both collect the nuts and then to put them in after I haul them, and then I will put them in for storage as well. They do sell lids at, I think, Home Depot that fit these. They're nothing fancy. They're not food grade, but the walnuts are in shells, so it's not a problem. And they're pretty cheap. That's why I like them, is because they're super cheap at Walmart. And then also I like the black. I think it has a nicer look, and I use them as planters for my potatoes in my garden in the spring. So I will fill those with peat moss and soil and put my seed potatoes in them, and that way they have the drainage holes, and because they're nice black buckets, they don't look too janky. So I use these buckets quite a bit. Alright, so I'm gonna get a bucket here. Let's see here. Alright, so I'm gonna take a minute here and load this bucket up, and I'll come back. Okay, here we are. I got about 5-gallon buckets, so about 25 gallons of hauled black walnuts out of that first screen. I'm going to do the second screen and hopefully get another 4 or 5 buckets. So I'll put lids on these, and these will go in my prepper pantry. Now, black walnuts will last in the shell for up to a year at least. I have harvested them, or I have kept them for at least a year, crack them and use them in baking products with no problems. I tend to do like a black walnut pie, which is essentially the same thing as a pecan pie. I just use black walnuts instead, and I tend to use more maple syrup than corn syrup. But anyways, these will go in my prepper pantry and will stay in these buckets probably for up to a year, and then I'll crack them as I need them, probably next fall. You probably could keep them longer, honestly. I don't know. I've never tested it to see how long they last in the shells. So maybe I'll try. I mean, I have a lot of nuts this year, so honestly, I probably won't go through all of them this year. So we may end up finding out after all. All right, let me get the other screen cleared off. Okay, here we go. I got about 9 buckets, 5-gallon buckets out of those 2 screens. I think I've got another 4 or 5 buckets at home. I know I have at least 3 down in my pantry. I think one upstairs I'm getting ready to crack, and then one out in the garage. So I will load these up in my car, take them to my house, and put them in my pantry for eating all year round.